Let's go. You lead the way. Where are we headed? Towards a net zero future, of course. Cleaner water, more electricity, a sustainable society. That's the destination we've set ourselves. This we know. Yes, we know exactly where we're going, but we need to get there quicker. So, let's build on the progress we've already made by working and walking together. With the right partners, tools and ideas, we'll become an unstoppable force. This we know. Right now, there are businesses who are putting technology and sustainability at the heart of everything they do. Brave leaders turning maybes into realities and building something better for everyone. Now is the time to look to the future and reinvent ourselves today, empowering others to do the same tomorrow. Yes, we know what the future holds, and we know how to get there. So, let's take charge of the journey today.
Welcome to our school board meeting.
Namaskar.
Hello.
Hi.
Spiffio, access in any language.
With over 30 years of building kindness and generosity into the lives of its students, GEM's Legacy School has come a long way. Today, we're all here to give you a glimpse of how sowing seeds of empathy over the years has contributed in creating a sustainable culture of environmental consciousness in hearts and minds of our students. Hello, everyone. My name is Nisha Mosen, and I will be moderating this session today at T4 World Education Week. We are extremely privileged to be among the best schools across the world that are being celebrated in this forum today, and we take pride in presenting to you our story. Previously known as the Kindergarten Starters, GEMS Legacy School has flourished to grow into one of the most sought after schools in Dubai. GEMS Legacy School would not have excelled to these heights had it not been for the leadership of the chairman of GEMS Group, Mr. Sunny Varke. As our guests join us, I would like to introduce to all of you our panel for today. We have with us Mrs. Asha Alexander, Principal and CEO of GEMS Legacy School and Executive Leader for Climate Change, GEMS Education, Dubai. Joining her is Mrs. Ranjani Ramnath Sharma, Curriculum Developer at GEMS Legacy School, along with Ms. Hana bint Mohammad Sunir, GLS Student Representative. Mrs. Alexander is passionate about spreading awareness on climate change. She's driven to take actionable initiatives that will impact the lives of the coming generations. She believes in nurturing empathy, resilience, leadership, and sustainable living in every life she touches. She has made presentations at COP25, COP26, numerous other international webinars and conferences, and has conducted workshops on leadership and change management for several schools and organizations across the world. Ms. Ranjani has a strong educational research background, and that she brings forth to lead the Action Research Program at the school, enabling several teachers to enhance their professional development through a dedicated focus. Ms. Ramnath is also a key player at the GEMS Global Ambassador Society and has led several global school twinning initiatives, collaborating student thoughts from across the world on globally concerning issues. Hannah is a member of the student leadership team at GEMS Legacy School, and she's representing the student voice today. She's the school's student ambassador at the GEMS Global Ambassador Society, an extremely passionate climate change envoy. She believes in the power of student agency for working towards a sustainable future. So without further ado, I would like to start today's discussions, hoping that on the other side of this hour, you would all have taken back some of our best practices that have led our school to have developed a community engagement that is not just local, but at a global level. Please use the hashtag WorldEduWeek to share your thoughts on social media about our discussion here. If you have any questions or comments as we progress through the session, please post them to the Q&A tab on your screen, and we will get back to you at the end of this interaction. We would be delighted to be in constant association with all of you. To further engage with us, do connect by exploring our website, www.gemslegacyschooldubai.com. The handles to our social media have been added to the chat. Let's begin this discussion today as I invite Mrs. Alexander to initiate our conversations. So, Mrs. Asha Alexander, as the Principal and Executive Leader Climate Change at GEMS, how do you think has sowing the seeds of empathy in your staff and students contributed to your school's vision in creating a sustainability-driven environment?
Thank you for your question, Nisha. I feel empathy and collaboration are the two pillars on which we have embedded sustainable practices and climate literacy at our school. I feel there's a need to sensitize students to the problems in the world so they can understand the problem in its context and then try to find a solution or take a course of action to help address the same. At the GEMS Legacy School, we're using Ed Kirwan's Empathy Week curriculum to help students understand different perspectives of people from all around the world. I feel a vision gets translated when there's a culture of empathy and problem solving in the school, and all the stakeholders are aligned to that vision. We have made that possible by engaging our parents, our teachers, leaders, and students to undertake the UNCC Learn courses on climate change to learn about the science of climate change and its impact on the planet. Just yesterday, 538 students of the middle school completed 6 selected courses to become UNCC ambassadors and champions of climate change. We've also created platforms like the GEMS Global Ambassadors Program, the School Conference of Parties Expo, Plant a Legacy, and many others to give students an opportunity to voice their thoughts and concerns, as well as debate and discuss climate action. And in doing so, we brought students and teachers from across the world to collaborate on solving problems. I think the world needs collaboration to move ahead if we are grappling with problems as large as climate change. We need to improve the quality and quantity of collaboration across the world. And I think in this respect, TIFO is an excellent platform that is bringing several school leaders and teachers together to learn from each other and work together to improve the measures we will all take to promote climate action. In our own school community, collaboration takes on different forms, with older students working with younger ones, to students working with Arabic schools in the community to share their learning with one another. I think up until now, the world has been hardwired for competition, and that is how many of us learned in our schools and how we continue to work in our offices behind individual desks and on our own. And while competition, I feel, has its place and will continue to remain, we need to drive up the quality of collaboration so that our students get to work on long term projects and they learn to accept different viewpoints and celebrate the success of their outcomes together. This is something that we've been trying to do, and I hope you are able to emulate in your schools. Thank you, Nisha.
Thank you, Mrs. Alexander. What are your thoughts on this, Ms. Ranjani?
Mrs. Alexander, I completely resonate with all that you've shared. This collective vision of GLS, it revolves around research and design that transforms and drives teaching and learning at our school. So, as a staff of Legacy, I can certainly say that awareness towards generating an environment which is climate sensitive, which you missed on mentioning out, was that it was initiated by you when you had taken the UNCC Learn courses yourself, and upon completion, you had motivated the entire staff of GLS to upskill themselves as well. So, this process was truly invigorating, making us the first school in the world to place a UN certified climate change teacher in every one of its classrooms. So, this was just the dawn to our journey as ambassadors of sustainability. And just as Mrs. Alexander had elucidated, I want to share the beauty from a staff perspective. Our school's values is integrated in all aspects of the enriched curriculum, may it be taught, written, supported, assessed, recommended, or even hidden. What makes our teachers' effort visible in learning is that these SDGs are mapped into the curriculum. That's the Sustainable Development Goals. And it is consolidates various methodologies into the pedagogy, both inside and out of the classroom spaces as well. You can see it through problem based learning, design thinking, thinking routines, and various other strategies and approaches that we use. The lesson plans that take up sustainability as its base, it is interwoven across all the subjects, and that is what teaches GEMS legacy students, and they are able to take this forward. So the question arises, how do we assess the impact? Well, just like any other institute, learning is visible in the lessons, but I'm proud to say that we have around 150 hours of professional development courses, data conversations that aid in the planning and assessing the next steps forward. The annually we see even the staff participating in GEMS Legacy's action research. So this not only allows improvement in the current practices, but also provides a platform for teachers and staff to self-reflect, and it kind of builds an attitude of lifelong learning even in teachers. So, in this way, we provide nothing but the best for our students. I would just like to bring out one example of the sustainable food habits research that we had conducted called on sustainable diet, where the teachers of GLS, in association with the Food and Behavior Research Institute in the United Kingdom, so these one of a kind researches not only allows dialogue, but we have seen the first-hand impact in our students in everyday lessons that change the behavior. And we see them that they are prepared with purpose to make a difference. So it's no surprise that we are one of the top 10 schools of the world for environmental action. I'm sure that Hannah will be able to throw more light on that.
Great.
Absolutely, Ms. Ranjani. Yes, Hannah, I'd love to have your views on it, please.
Yes, as a student, we have a role to fulfill in society because students are the ones who lead the youth response to many arising problems in the world. And in our school, we had taken part in many initiatives that instilled the values of inclusiveness and teamwork, which helped students empathize with their peers. And when our principal, Mrs. Asha Alexander, represented the education community of the whole of UAE at COP25 and 26, we were able to reflect on the many initiatives that we had taken to be able to receive this wonderful opportunity. Our principal's mission to have student voices take the lead helped us to learn the different qualities of leadership and compassion, which we are sure will help us in the future. Taking part in Scope helped us further ingrain the values we learned and once again showcase the need to have a youth response to the many problems, especially climate change. Not only do the seniors of our school take part in these activities, the students are taught about the values of empathy from a very young age. For example, my brother, Mohammed Hamdan, had taken part in the Reggio inspired exhibition where young students proposed solutions for arising world problems, where the main foundation was the value of empathy.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you for that perspective. Ms. Asha Alexander, coming back to your vision for the school. As the top 10 schools for environmental action, what legacy do you aim to leave on the world?
That's a very profound question. I do not want to leave a legacy for people. We are hoping we will leave a legacy in children and in adults to work together on problems that affect the planet. Our aim in the coming year is to establish GEMS hub schools for sustainability in at least 8 countries by the end of 2023, and then continue to widen and deepen our interaction across the globe. The aim for setting up these hub schools for sustainability is to empower these schools to act simultaneously so that the SDG goals can be achieved at a faster pace. If we work in isolation and a few schools do what we are doing, we won't meet the targets by 2030. In a few days' time, I'm hoping to travel to Italy to establish the first 4 hub schools. And we will also be establishing hub schools in Indonesia, India, and Africa, even as we are going to continue working with several schools across the globe. Empowering schools is exciting. Empowering them across the world to take climate action by supporting them with curriculum mapping, lesson plans, sharing the template that has made us successful, which I believe would be in part the plan to develop these schools as hubs of sustainable practice. I think this will give them ownership of their region and propel them to action. We've also worked with schools in Victoria and Australia where students design smart cities delving into the use of technology. We've also worked with schools in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia to drive home the importance of water conservation. In that particular case, students walked for water, simulating what many children have to do in several countries threatened by drought in order to empathize with them and find solutions to water conservation. At the moment, we're doing something which is very exciting. Our students are working with underprivileged girls in Uttar Pradesh, in India, and encouraging them to continue their education by teaching them basic literacy and numeracy skills, as well as awareness around disease and hygiene. We need to empower the girl child in countries like India and bring them to contribute effectively to climate action. We need to help them study STEM subjects, and in some cases, just getting them to go to school will have a far reaching impact. Our students and our teachers use the virtual platform to conduct these lessons, and I think this is one of the most exciting developments in empowering others. You asked about the legacy. I'd like to say I would like every individual to be able to work with others and continue empowering others, expecting nothing in return but saving our planet.
Wow, that was such good food for thought. Thank you, Ms. Alexander. Over to you, Ms. Ranjini.
So, Ms. Nisha, with the executive leader of climate change at GEMS Education as our beaming light, our capacities feel unlimited. The power of knowledge is tested when it is shared. So, as teachers, we realize that purpose, that significance. So, the jargons in relation to sustainability is already embedded in our children. So, you can see that visible in thought and action, just like how you can see it in Hannah. So the amalgamation of this knowledge that the entire school possesses, it couldn't be contained. So that's how Mrs. Alexander had initiated the GGA, the GEMS Global Ambassadors Society, to create this ripple, not limiting to just the UAE. So, for those who are not aware of the GEMS Global Ambassador Society, I'm going to just give you a quick brief. It is a global network to promote collaboration among participating institutes to play a pivotal role in addressing the compelling and complex social, economic, and environmental global challenges that influence our planet and its ability to thrive. So, with schools acting as a key influencer, they are crucial to help building a sustainable future. So, quoting our principle, partnerships in this way are the primary movers that will help us to work together to create an empathetic, peaceful, and inclusive society. So, that's why we want to sow these seeds of empathy so that these SDGs can be inculcated into all the schools curriculums, and it can be the largest movement in the region. So we have seen that we have twinned over across 100 schools, uh, right from UAE, India, Australia, Indonesia, Africa, Europe, and it's just growing. And Mrs. Alexander just mentioned her travel about going to Italy to create and invest our first hub school. So it's a major victory for us that we are breaking all geographical barriers and boundaries and encouraging empathy not only towards one another but even our environment. So, leading on such several projects personally, I have seen this positive impact in the worldwide reach to educate, to advocate, and exercise these global goals. So, I can see some questions coming up. This is to our dear viewers. If you're interested to twin with us, do reach out to us through our GEMS Legacy Schools website or any of our social media pages. I'm going to actually leave it over to Hannah to share more from her perspective so that she can tell us how this actionable legacy that we have envisioned to leave behind for our future generation.
Thank you, Ms. Ranjani. The initiatives that the GEMS Global Ambassador Society took up were a great opportunity for students to actively participate in sustaining the environment. And the active participation from students was an opportunity to spread awareness and inspire others to participate in climate action initiatives as well. And obviously, this increase in the number of people taking part in the response towards climate change can increase the impact that it has on the environment. For example, participating in PAL, which is Plant a Legacy, was an opportunity to contribute to the environment. And my peers enjoyed taking part in PAL, where we could have a lot of fun while working towards a bright future. Along with that, creating recipes for the Sustainable Diet Cookbook was an opportunity to reflect on our lifestyle while taking part in something that many of us may have never even thought of trying before. The UNCC Sustainable Diet Action Research course gave me and my peers many ideas for creative sustainable dishes. Another initiative that was by the GGA was Streamability, where student independence and inclusiveness was the foundation, and taking part in these and being a leader for the team in my school was an opportunity to recognize students' talents, no matter their level of learning therein. Because, as the quote suggests, don't judge a book by its cover. Plogging was another activity where we incorporated physical fitness like bending, jogging, and squatting while cleaning up the beach. Leading different teams once again instilled values of teamwork and leadership while emphasizing with your team members. As mentioned, we also finished the UNCC courses, and it was a wonderful opportunity to learn more about how different aspects of society are connected to climate change. For example, the Gender Equality and Human Rights in Climate Action and Renewable course made me realize that many women are the ones who face the impact that climate change leaves. Another course that I enjoyed was the informative Sustainable Diet Interactive course, where the video, informational text, and interactive activities helped us realize the impact that our food and lifestyle leaves on the climate. The certification we received for completing these courses were from the UN itself, which was a huge encouragement for us to continue what we were doing. Although we have come a long way and is now being recognized as a school for climate action, we do not plan on stopping or slowing down our journey. And we showed these values of persistence by encouraging students from a local Arabic school to also complete the 6 UNCC courses, which was a great opportunity to spread awareness about climate action.
Thank you, Hannah. The closing question is directed to you, Mrs. Alexander. What are your next steps towards achieving your vision, and what would be your advice to our audience here?
Our vision, I think, is to change the world by helping to embed the SDGs before 2030. There's an urgent need to collaborate, I think, with like minded individuals all over the world to make this happen. My advice to others is do everything you can do in your own communities by collaborating with others who are also engaged in similar pursuits. Sometimes there's a tendency amongst us to launch out on our own and reinvent the wheel when other people are already doing such wonderful things. Thereby, we dilute the impact of our efforts. If we can all come together for a common cause, I feel we will begin seeing a greater impact sooner than later. Secondly, I think we need to believe that we all make a difference and that even the smallest change we make to our individual behavior is going to be a step in the right direction. Hannah just spoke about the sustainable diet, and this is something we've just begun in our school to introduce a nutrition curriculum which is sustainable, which is going to make every student change his or her diet patterns, thereby reducing the carbon footprint, and they become champions to do bigger things at home, spread the same thing in their families and in the wider communities. Big things begin with small steps and consistent action, I find. So I think people get discouraged when there's no great recognition. They feel we're not being valued, so why should I continue doing what I am doing? But you need to pat yourself in the back. You need to be inspired to continue putting one foot in front of the other because recognitions are momentary. They should be celebrated. You feel good when you're recognized as the top 10 in the world, but that's not the end of the journey. There is a larger goal to be achieved, and we must all be ready to walk towards it. Sometimes we may not be recognized, but everybody's action to reduce the carbon footprint across the world counts, and we must understand and sometimes applaud ourselves because that is what keeps us going. So I want to wish all the viewers the very best as you go about in your own communities doing what needs to be done to save the planet. And like Ranjani and Nisha have already said, we look forward to collaborating with as many schools as is possible in the coming year. We would love you to reach out to us. We're happy to be working with you. If you're interested in becoming a hub school or join the twinning program or working as part of the GEMS Global Ambassador. And I hope that whatever little we've shared with you will inspire you to take action. Sometimes we feel we wait for companies and countries and leaders to make the change. But I think while we wait for the mandate from leaders, we should start working simultaneously from the grassroots upwards. So it's only when the people, we are 8 million people across the world, 8 billion people, we can make that change. We are the people who have contributed to the situation our planet is in, and it is up to us to rectify it. We can't blame it on governments not taking action. We cannot wait for companies to step in and save us. We all have to take action every single day and remember that everybody's action counts. Everyone leaves a carbon footprint, and if you change your behaviors, you can save the planet.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Alexander. With that, we are now open to take the questions in the forum. I have some very good questions here. And this one's for you, Mr. Alexander. What efforts did you take to engage your parent community to your school's vision?
I think parents and teachers and students are all equally important, but most often schools see parents as being on the other side of the fence. One of the things we did in our school was we followed what is called as an open door program, which we started about a few years ago, and we made sure that parents had full access to the school. Not only do they come in during open houses or to look at an exhibition, they're actually permitted to walk into a classroom, sit down, and see how their child learns in that classroom. What that did for us was to create trust and transparency. And when parents start trusting the schools in which their children study, they definitely want to engage more and want to do things along with their children. So while I talked about the UNCC courses, we had parents doing the UNCC courses as well because they said, teachers are doing this, staff are doing this, children are studying. We too need to know what it is that you're teaching our children. When you work along as a community, not as separate people, as teachers and students and parents, but as one whole community for the betterment of our children and our planet, we can do marvelous things. So, to gain the buy in from parents, whatever we do, we just started the nutrition curriculum. I had a workshop organized for parents, one for teachers and for students. No one should feel that anything is being imposed on them. They should feel their thoughts are welcome, their suggestions are welcome. So we listen to them. And once you allow parents the access we've given, like the school is yours, you can come in anytime and see what's happening in your school, your child's school. They begin to take ownership of what's happening, and they're a huge underutilized resource in most schools. If you reach out to the parents of the school, you have among them CEOs of companies and very educated people. We are underutilizing the parent community by not reaching out. It's a age-old kind of feeling that we have that we are on one side and the parents are on the other side. When we welcome them with open arms, you will see the power of collaboration. So here is another collaboration I want all of us to do, and you'll see that parents are more supportive than not.
Thank you. Ranjini, this is one's for you. How did your school structure the action research program?
So, Nisha, that's actually a really great question. The action research is not something new. This year, we have initiated the season 9 of our action research, and we call it as the action research carousel because as visitors come in, they get to view and see how the action researches are done across all subjects, all grades, and teachers get this opportunity to, like I had mentioned earlier, to reflect on their practices, on their teaching, and even learn from one another. So there is no disparity when it comes age wise or grade wise. So we see this kind of mutual understanding, this mutual learning that even teachers go through. It works, it goes all around the year. So the teachers begin with even basics of any form of research, right from literature review, understanding the methodology, understanding where the problem lies, and they try to build upon this. So they know what is best for the children by the end of it when they rework on it. But something interesting I would like to share that this year's action research has a little twist in it. We are taking up something called the lesson study in our action research carousel this year. So season 9 is going to be really special for us because each and every teacher of the school is going to be involved completely in this action research. So they are going to be more subject specific. They are going to really initiate this level of uh, depth when it comes to understanding what is it that our children require. So the entire planning process, with the support of our vice principal and our head of secondary, Mrs. Lata and Miss Althea, it's great when we have leaders like this in our school that actually support and guide the teachers of our school. So I would really give all the teachers the credit for looking back into themselves and improving. So because that is what our children need.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we will not be able to respond to all the questions. However, there's this one that I'd like Hannah to take up. The question says, how do you advise is the best way to encourage the involvement of students in the projects at school? So Hannah, what's your view? How are you involved in the projects in school?
Students should be given more opportunities where we're not looking at what level of learning they're in. Instead, we look at how they're participating in class and their way of thinking, because everyone does not think the same. Everyone has different levels of thinking. How they think is different. So you give them more opportunities to participate in more initiatives and competitions, and they'll be more encouraged to participate in whatever we are planning. For example, many students did not want to do the UNCC courses initially, but then when they got the certification after the first course, they were encouraged to do more, and that's how more than 538 students from our middle school completed all the courses, and we are still working towards more. Even aside from the middle school, from grades 1 to 7, we had completed the sustainable diet course, which, as I mentioned, was a very interactive course and we all enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have some queries here on how to connect. So, like we all already mentioned, please do visit our website. Do connect with us on our social media handles. The website and the links to our handles is in the chat. To quickly summarize the discussion today, here are some important takeaways for all of you. At GEMS Legacy School, the vision of creating a sustainable future starts with sowing the seeds of empathy to create an empathetic culture towards environment. Creating reflective professionals through dedicated research furthers our vision, I would say. So does providing students opportunities and student agency a platform. Lastly, integrating global perspectives in the curriculum and thereby creating global communities contributes essentially in ensuring students relate to the real world concerns for the environment, for themselves, and therefore be prepared to take right steps in the right direction. As we come to an end to this insightful session, on behalf of GEMS Legacy School, I wish to express my sincere appreciation and thanks to Mrs. Alexander for her dynamic leadership initiatives and her invaluable inputs. The students and teachers at GLS are the catalyst for all this transformation. So heartfelt gratitude to the team GLS. Last but definitely not the least, I thank T4 Education Forum for giving us this privilege for sharing our best practices with the world third year in a row. Once again, do reach out to us, connect with us, because we believe in taking forward global connections to strategize ways to create holistic learning opportunities for the coming generations. Thank you, everyone, and good evening from us.